Welcome to Holstein Connections, where we share the latest stories, insights, and news from Holstein Association USA and beyond. The largest dairy cattle breed association in the world, Holstein Association USA provides leadership, information, and services to help dairy producers worldwide be successful. Whether you're in the barn, on the road, or just tuning in for your dose of dairy news, we're glad you're here. This is Holstein Connections.
Welcome back to the Holstein Connections podcast. Today, we're taking a closer look inside the Holstein Association USA Board of Directors, exploring what it's really like to serve, how board members balance their farms, families, and leadership roles, and what's driving the future of the association. To get the inside story, we sat down with 3 board members from across the country: Andy Lenkaitis from Illinois, Scott Yocum from Kentucky, and Betsy Bullard from Maine. Each brings a unique perspective, but together they share a deep passion for the Holstein breed and for shaping the next generation of dairy leaders. They'll share what it takes to be an effective board member, the rewards and responsibilities that come with that role, and why now might be the perfect time for you to get involved. Now, here are Andy, Scott, and Betsy with their introductions.
My name is Andy Lenkaitis. I'm from St. Charles, Illinois, northeast part of the state, about 40 miles west of Chicago. And I'm a director at large, so I'm representative from the overall membership body, not representing a specific area. My registered Holstein background started maybe like a lot of us. I grew up on a dairy farm, showing in county fairs, local state fairs, the national shows. I was fortunate enough to be able to grow up and do a lot of the junior Holstein programs, Quiz Bowl, Dairy Jeopardy, speech contest, and even the DJM program. My wife and I took over about 10 years ago as a 37 stall tie stall barn. We've since grown the herd into a 2-robot, 120 cow freestall barn. Sarah runs the farm day to day, along with our 2 kids, Lucas and Nora. Don't quite help yet, but they're getting there. So we've always registered Holsteins. We've focused on red and white genetics since the late 80s. That's when my parents always started to, and we've taken that in our breeding philosophy, taken some different tweaks here and there, but always focused on a balanced type and production cow and trying to specialize with the red and white coat color just to give us a little bit of a different edge with our animals. And it's fun to walk in the barn and see half the cows are red and the other half are red carrier.
Betsy Bullard from Breguin Farms in Turner, Maine, and I am currently serving as the Area 1 Director for Holstein USA. Registered Holsteins figure in pretty much all of my earliest memories, from being at shows with my parents at a young enough age that I'm sure I was just an absolute nuisance, to attending my first National Holstein Convention before I had any idea what was going on there, and really idolizing what were the older kids at that point that were having fabulous success in Dairy Bowl, and really beginning to get a sense of the interconnectedness of our Holstein family.
My name's Scott Yocum from Salvisa, Kentucky, about 30 miles southwest of Lexington, and I'm the Region 4 Director for Holstein Association USA. I think for me, I didn't have any grand designs to be on the board. We had an open seat for the region, and I was worried about representing the Southeast on the board, and it's been absolutely a wonderful experience. When I sat down in the board of directors, not to drop names, but Jonathan Lamb was president, Jeff King sitting there, and I thought, how in the world did I end up here? But they have been the most welcoming group, very friendly. We don't have a large number of Holsteins, but just very receptive, and it's been a great experience.
Like many board members, none of them set out expecting to serve. It often begins with something simple: a casual conversation, a shared interest, or a moment of connection that opens the door. From there, it grows into something bigger. Serving on the board isn't about titles or recognition. It's about the people, the relationships built, the ideas exchanged, and the collective effort to make a difference.
The board is an interesting group. It's almost a fraternity, and I think that working for a cause bigger than yourself, I mean, these are people that are genuinely interested in moving the Holstein breed forward, maintaining an association, making it inclusive for everybody, and just been a really neat group of people from all across the country to get to be friends with and collaborate on ideas to move the association forward.
Serving on the Holstein Association board has really been a great experience for me. I didn't know a lot about what board experience and exposure was prior. I've got some calls before running from some interested individuals and said I would be a good candidate. So I said, why not? Let's give it a shot. And in my 2 years now on the board, I've really been impressed with the professionalism of how the board is run. It really helps me take that information and kind of that attitude back to other organizations. I really like the information that we're exposed to and get to help make some of those tiny shifts and movements and decisions that really help drive the overall direction of the organization. And just from a standpoint of, do I have time for this? It's really something I thought I didn't have time for, but as I get more into it, it's really easy for me to change my focus and focus on where I'm at with the board when I have board meetings or have responsibilities I need to take care of. I want to do better for the membership. I want to do better for the other board members and make sure that we're pushing the organization in the right direction. And it's really been a wonderful experience so far.
The easy high point is the people. We have a tremendous group of dedicated members throughout the organization, and from that membership pool, we have a very engaged board who take their roles very seriously. We have a very candid board. Our discussions tend to be, while they're focused on the important things at the moment, people are very diligent about making sure that they share their opinion on whatever item that we're considering. Youth programs with Holstein USA really form the underpinning of my Holstein experience. As a junior member, I was fortunate enough to be active in Dairy Bowl contests and to have some really good mentors, such that I actually served on the junior advisory committee when I was a junior member. So it's fascinating to me to have the opportunity to give back in that role. It's really important for the overall long-term success of our organization to continue to have vibrant youth programs and to do our part as adult members to make sure that our youth members understand that we need them. We need their enthusiasm, we need their creative thinking, just to keep nudging us along the path of making sure that Holstein USA is relevant and isn't going to look the same 10 or 15 years from now as it does today, or certainly not as it did 10 or 15 years ago.
The youth programs are just one way that Holstein Association impacts the overall dairy industry. When you ask board members what excites them the most, it's seeing how their projects, committee work, and even quick hallway conversations lead to real, actionable improvements for the breed. All of these efforts, combined with governance, programs, and technologies, help the association connect members, share data, and continue to advance the breed.
I think the highlights from the conversations and some of the take-home thoughts range anywhere from what a particular board member might be doing in their home dairy operation, whether they've begun a new project or have worked on a particular area of breeding, or certainly our folks on the GAC and type committee meetings. We're really working hard to make sure that those offhand comments in the hallway from members or a phone call from members are accurately reflected in those meetings and aren't just reflected in the conversation, but are taking that next step further into actionable items. So that's exciting to be involved in the conversations and have that food for thought going forward after the conversations too. I think one of the high points certainly has to be working on selecting a new CEO for the organization. That has such a huge impact for the organization down the road, and I'm very proud of our board's work, the diligence that went into that, and certainly delighted that we have a CEO who is so thoroughly committed to the Holstein cow and to our membership.
Acting as a bridge over Holstein Association governance was also noted by Scott.
To be honest about it, as long as I'm on the board, the most consequential thing we've done was elected Lindsay Warden as CEO. The association was in a great spot, but I think to take it to the next level, Lindsay was a person. She put together a great team to lead the association forward. I couldn't imagine it going any better.
And from Andy's perspective, new programs and technologies are the exciting parts of the position.
There's a tremendous amount of opportunity that you see on the board, and it's really exciting to see different programs and activities that Holstein Association is rolling out or has been doing for a long time, but even some of the new programs that are coming out. I've always been passionate about junior activities just because I was fortunate to grow up as a junior Holstein kid, quote unquote, and do the different activities that are out there. So it's great that I get to help see the kids that are coming up today and their professionalism and their attitude and what opportunities they have in front of them. But also a lot of the technology that I like to be involved with as part of my off-the-farm job. I'm seeing a lot of the interest and the behind-the-scenes work, how that happens at Holstein USA. to get information out to customers, out to membership, so they can use that data at their own operations at home, and also see what goes on behind the scenes with the data flow and cooperation with different organizations in the industry, because that's really the key part of this, is knowing that we're connected to all these different groups that are connected to different farms and operations, so we can get the best data back and we can provide the best information to our membership to breed the best cow out there.
We'll be right back after a quick word from Holstein Association USA.
There are so many ways to get involved with Holstein Association USA, and your voice can make a difference. From serving on a committee to running for the board of directors, your experience and passion can help guide the future of the Holstein breed. Committee members play a key role in shaping programs and policies, while board members help lead the direction of the association on a national level. Right now, we are looking for dedicated members to fill open positions on our board of directors in 2026, including vice president and Region 6 director, who represents Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Whether you've been involved for years or are just looking to take the next step, there's a place for you to connect, contribute, and grow. Learn more about the opportunities and how to get involved at www.holsteinusa.com.
Of course, serving on the board isn't just about passion, it's also about time. Many assume the time commitment is too large, but all three agree it's manageable.
It wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be. If you're a board of directors member, obviously you have a board meeting in the spring. Depending on where it is, it's a couple of 3 days. The annual meeting, a fall board meeting, a couple of committee meetings. I would say probably not going to total 10 days for me for the year, which, to be honest, was probably less than I was thinking I was going to be involved in.
Yeah, the time commitment to serve on the board, I wasn't really sure of that going into it, but in looking at the meeting schedule and talking with other board members, it's really not a large time commitment from what I initially feared. Really, the biggest time commitment is the Holstein convention, which if you're an active registered Holstein breeder, there's a good chance you're going to the convention anyway to be a delegate or learn about what the next steps are. But that's your biggest single time commitment, because that's really 5 days, 4 to 5 days, depending on travel. And there's 2 other board meetings, a spring and a fall, which are 2 or 3 days each, depending on travel again, and then whatever committees that you're appointed to help represent. And for me, it's been on the junior advisory committee. There's been a day or two once a year, and then the legislative committee. We've done mainly conference calls, so we haven't had to have a lot of time away from your day-to-day business or activities. Probably the biggest thing for me with the time commitment is it's really nice to put away your day-to-day responsibilities and focus on the organization and being there, being present at the meetings, at the different events to make sure you're representing the breed, the membership well. And it's really been an energizing, rewarding experience. Even though I know I'm not at home, I still feel like I'm helping the industry push forward, which really makes me feel valuable that I'm using my time wisely. Even though I'm not on my home farm doing my own thing, I'm helping others in the industry move forward.
As Scott and Andy mentioned, the time commitment is not as important as the work that's done. Betsy adds that no matter how busy life can get, being involved in association governance at any level is pivotal to guiding the organization and supporting our members.
I think any membership organization is only as healthy as its members are willing to put in the time to make it. It may look daunting to say, oh gosh, these are the folks that are sitting up in their suit jackets and maybe in the corner of the room or sitting up on the dais at meetings. But the reality is that these are members just like everybody else. These are members who maybe got involved in committee work, and that's what nudged them towards board service, or have some other particular area that they're really passionate about, whether it's the specifics of breeding or whether it's the specifics of governance and making sure that we have a strong organization moving forward. It's one of the big take-homes from my board service thus far has been that it's an easily accessible process. It's not a time commitment that prevents folks from serving. It is possible to fit it in around the 9 million other things that I know everybody has going on in their businesses and their lives, but it's rewarding enough that it's worth it.
Regardless of the time spent, these board positions still take a member that is ready to take the leap to get involved. All 3 of our board members here implore you to get involved as early as possible and at every level of the Holstein Association.
I can't ever say that being involved in governance of an organization was on my top 10 things that I wanted to accomplish. But the more I understand how organizations work, even how corporate structures work, how associations operate, it really does take that involvement from the board level, from the higher levels, to help get different directives enacted, help get kind of those objectives laid out so that way the whole organization can work towards those goals. And so you think, yeah, it's boring to do this or that, but in reality, that's the framework to how things get done. If you don't build a solid foundation, you have a good plan, what we're trying to accomplish, and then you enact different tasks to get to that end goal, you're never going to get there. And by being involved at the initial steps, you can try to help guide things here and there to make sure you're not going to fall into a typical pitfall, or you're not going to waste resources that aren't beneficial. And at the end of the day, you end up with a useful product or service that the membership didn't even know they wanted. And that's really the ultimate goal, is that you're providing data ahead of what they think someone needs, and you can really get out there ahead of it and provide that excellent piece of information to the customer.
A solid foundation is what strengthens our organization at all levels, according to Andy, and Betsy echoes these viewpoints.
Do it. Pick up the phone, write that email, send somebody a message on social media or whatever. Reach out if you have an idea or if you have a question. Don't be shy. By and large, our members are not shy at all, and I think that's a fantastic strength of our organization. But ask that question, and certainly if you have any interest in serving further, the committees are a great way to get more involved, even if it's only on your state or region level. Get involved and make sure you share your thoughts, and don't assume that somebody else has already had that idea or somebody else has a better idea. Share that and let the process go forward.
Betsy and Scott both encourage younger members to speak out and be prepared to get more involved to share your ideas and opinions.
You know, the Holstein Association, I wasn't real involved in the politics of the association before we could host a convention here in Kentucky. And the Holstein Association is truly a grassroots organization. If you think something's not going right and you want to have a say, put yourself up there for a committee, run to be on the board. I was just at the type committee meeting. We're talking about the size of the cows. If you want to have a voice, you can get on a committee and have a say. And I think that there's a big opportunity for you to influence the way we're going.
The board of directors not only dictate many year-to-year activities for the association, but they're also required to look forward towards times that may be uncertain.
Being the optimist that I am, that we have to be as dairy farmers, I see Holstein USA in 10 years even more relevant than it is today. I think the suite of products and services and new technology that we have on board and are developing, whether it's Build a Better Cow or whether it's a better mesh of supports and things that really add value to our members, to dairy farmers at large. I see us doing a better job communicating that, a more effective job of communicating that to folks that maybe haven't been involved with Holstein products and activities previously.
Scott looks towards expanding engagement by bringing in larger dairies and being a service provider of choice.
I think we're going to have to figure out how to bring in more of the larger dairies. As the industry changes, we're going to have to figure out how to be a service provider of choice, either through identification or other services, to expand the base that way. As the cow numbers shrink, we've also got to bring some of those folks in, and also making sure we have a pipeline of young people coming up, whether they're from a dairy background or not, whether they stay in the industry or not. But I think we need that ag community to stay together, and I think the association is well positioned to provide opportunities for that to happen.
Holstein USA's future continues to be focused on impacting the dairy industry overall, and Andy knows that comes from the development of technology.
Looking at the future of the organization was always tough if I had a crystal ball, but I think the organization has done an excellent job of shifting priorities as the market's changed. We're no longer just, in my mind, the Holstein Association. I really believe that the organization really speaks for dairy breeders everywhere, because ultimately we're trying to achieve a similar goal of having the best cows out there for our operation. That might be high show type, that might be high genomics, that might be high production components, whatever that may be, having those tools available. And the more we can bring people together, even from different breeds, different associations, to accomplish those goals, it makes the industry better. And so I think as I look ahead to the future of the organization, obviously youth development is going to continue to be a key asset for us to help develop that next generation, and also just finding ways to integrate technology and be that clearinghouse to make sure that the information is properly gathered, it's useful information, and get out to the membership in a way that they can use it on their day-to-day operation. So I think it'll continue to be a data resource company, a information clearinghouse, and overall kind of the leader in the dairy information and services business.
When it's your time to get more involved at any level, our board members offer up words of advice and encouragement.
Like I said, just get involved. I didn't get involved till later, but put yourself out there and there's an opportunity for you to make a difference, and very seldom do you get that opportunity.
Similar to Scott, both Andy and Betsy remind members not to wait for the perfect opportunity, because it may never come. The best time to get involved is now.
When I looked at running for the board, obviously it was a conversation my wife and I had, and you look at your responsibilities at home, and there's never a right time. If you wait and wait, you're never going to have it. And you got to think, is this important to me or not? And if it's important to you, you got to get involved. If we don't get good people involved at different levels, if we don't get them on boards and having influence on programs and other activities, we're not going to get the advancement of the organization that we need, and we're not going to get more people involved to build it into something better than what it is today, which is the ultimate goal. Yeah, you can say, oh, maybe that's something I should do when I'm older, when I have more time. Do it now. When you're in the thick of everything, you're in the industry, you know what things frustrate you, what things you enjoy, and you can make those changes now to help drive the organization to the next step.
Betsy adds, don't hesitate to reach out with questions. There are plenty of people who are willing to share their experiences and help you get started.
I think anyone who's considering running for the board or considering what that process looks like, don't be shy. I know a lot of us feel any number of different things, that maybe there's a perfect time to do it. There's no perfect time to do it. Throw your name in the ring and give it a try. Failure is part of the game. So certainly don't be swayed by, oh, I ran this one time and it didn't work, or I put my name in for this one thing and it didn't happen. Not everything is immediate, and the more times you work on becoming part of the conversation, the impact that you'll have will be greater. And even if it doesn't look like it had any impact, your comment or your conversation that you had with someone in the hallway, it probably did. Patience is way easier to suggest to other people than it is to actually live out in my own life, but be patient and be persistent too.
Well, I want to extend a huge thank you to Andy Lenkaitis, Scott Yocum, and Betsy Bullard for sharing their time, experiences, and insights from their service on the Holstein Association USA Board of Directors. If today's conversation inspired you to get more involved in Holstein Association USA, visit holsteinusa.com to learn more about opportunities to serve.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Holstein Connections. Whether you're in the barn, on the road, or just tuning in for your dose of dairy news, we're glad you're here. Until next time, this is Holstein Connections.